Hello there everybody, my name is Jared, back again with yet another Titanfall audio commentary. This here is going to be probably one of the longest videos I've ever put up that's not a Let's Play video, because this update here, game update number 4, and by the way, when I'm making this video, the official date has not been mentioned yet, but once we do get the date, I will switch up the title as well as the thumbnail to include the date, so if you're watching this in the future, you know when it comes out. As of right now, on Wednesday when I'm recording this, we don't, so I wanted to quickly bring that up, but I believe this is the biggest content update and just update in general that we've gotten for Titanfall so far. There's a ton of stuff that is getting added to the game, as well as there is a lot of balancing that is happening to, I believe, every single weapon, if I'm not mistaken, or at least a large majority of the weapons. So really big update. We're going to be a really long video. I will leave annotations as well as links down in the description to switch to different sections. The first section is going to be the new content, the second section is going to be bug fixes, and then the third section is going to be balancing. I considered doing 3 different videos, but then I was like, no, I ain't about trying to get money out of you guys. I'm just going to do one long video as opposed to making 3 different videos. Again, I guess I get more views in total, but whatever, we're doing it here. We're doing one big long video. So that being said, let's get into the new game updates right now. The first new feature that will be on all the platforms is called Feature Game Mode, and it says this: we're introducing a Feature Game Modes into our playlist rotation. These are game modes that will be available for a limited time only. New Feature Game Modes will be introduced periodically to replace any outgoing Feature Game Mode. Our first Feature Game Mode is Marked for Death, and Wingman Last Titan Standing will follow shortly after. Next thing we got is the new Marked for Death game mode, which I've talked about a couple times on my channel. Following that, we have 14 brand new burn cards that are going to be for Titans only, so Titan-related burn cards only. After that, Titan insignias, emblems, nose art, whatever you want to call them, is coming, which you are able to place on your Titan. Coming up after that, there are some matchmaking changes, and it says this: we made improvements to matchmaking and team balancing. Now teams are rearranged just before the level loads to further balance the team's skills and player counts. You'll notice that you're grayed out in the lobby until teams are set. You'll also notice connecting as players join a match. There's new Titan OS voices instead of just the classic Betty that we've had since the launch of the game. We are now getting Jeeves and Lisa. After that, we have more Titan OS VO, new helpful warnings and observations from your Titan, which I didn't realize that would be coming. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but alright, I'm excited for that. Following that, we have something called a challenge tracker. You can now select which challenges you want to work towards and find them easily. You can review your track challenges during a match by bringing up the in-game menu. The menu art has changed. That's interesting. So brand new background as well as a few other things have been changed. I'm excited to see what that's going to look like. These are a lot of things that are coming that I did not know about, but apparently there has been an update, or will be an update, to the menu art. There's been a slight audio tweak. Killing a pilot now plays a special sound effect to the killer, and unique sounds are played when killing a pilot or Titan via Titanfall. The Auto Titans will now use all your Titan abilities, so if you've equipped Electric Smoke, it will deploy Electric Smoke when it gets rodeoed. If you equip the Particle Wall, it will deploy a Particle Wall when it is under fire. That's great, because that's always been an issue as far as using the Auto Titans with the different abilities, and now that they're actually going to utilize them properly, I'm excited for that. That's definitely going to change up the game, going to make them a whole lot harder to take out the Auto Titans, so yeah, I'm for that. I'm really glad that they decided to add that into the game. Next thing, Rodeo, you can now see the name of the Titan you rodeo. Alright, burn cards. You'll notice a triple burn card selector at the bottom right of your HUD after you die. It's a reminder to use your cards and convenient way to select them. Following that, another thing I'm really excited for is something called Burn Card Overflow Protection. To protect players who have a full burn card deck from losing the opportunity to earn valuable rare cards, you may now exceed your maximum deck size. However, you must discard down to a legal deck size before you arm new burn cards. To make this less obtrusive, the maximum base deck size has been increased from 26 to 46, absolutely huge, and this is going to be very convenient. I know I, right now, am still trying to regen, and I want to get extra cards, but I want to keep some of the other cool ones, but now that this is going to be bumped up, it's going to be an absolutely huge help. Thank you, Respawn, for this. The burn card deck limit now tied to gen level, and this is another thing that is related to the last one, or the last new feature. Maximum deck size is increased by 6 cards per gen, on top of the base 46 with a minimum of 100 for gen 10. There's a new control layout option called Drift Guard. Not sure what that's about, but that's coming as well. After that, it changed to unlocks. You'll still be able to unlock the Strider and Ogre chassis by playing campaign, but you can also unlock them in normal multiplayer modes. The Strider will unlock at level 15 and the Ogre at level 30. Absolutely great. That's been a huge issue. Well, actually, I'm not sure if that's a huge issue, but I could assume that for someone who's just picking up the game now, that is definitely going to be something harder to accomplish than once the game first came out, because when the game first came out, I mean, a lot of people wanted to unlock the 2 other chassis chassis besides just the Atlas. So there's a ton of people in the campaign lobbies. Now, that is something hard to do. It takes, like, I think last time I tried to play some campaign, it maybe took about 5, 6, 7 minutes, and I have a better connection. I couldn't imagine if you have a really slow connection how long that would take, but I'm very glad to see now that you can unlock it by just playing multiplayer and going through the ranks. And the final new feature that is being added to all platforms is your win/loss streak. Your win or loss streak for the last 10 matches is now displayed in the lobby over the image of the next map. And one final feature that is Xbox One specific, I'm going to assume that this will come to Xbox 360, as well as there really is no reason for not to come to Xbox 360, but there's going to be brand new achievements for the Expedition DLC. Finally, I know a lot of you guys are achievement hunters. I'm going to assume you guys are like, what? No new achievements for the first DLC? That sucks. Well, you guys are finally going to be getting your achievements. I am not really an achievement hunter, as I've said before, but I'm glad to see that they are finally adding these into the game. Once again, this is going to be coming to Xbox and PC first, this new update, so I'd assume that the achievements will be added once the 360 version gets this update. Alright, the bug fixes that affect all platforms. We're going to do this rapid fire. Fix no music playing when you join a match late. Fix for sonar burn cards not showing up during kill replay. Fix case for when Titan locking/pilot locking indicator goes away. Fix not being able to rodeo a Titan doing a synced melee kill. A lot of these things I don't know what's happening, but whatever. Corporate restored victory/defeat music at the end of match in corporate on campaign. Fix for getting stuck in Titan deploying nuclear core and nuclear core not doing the full damage when right next to Titan. Fix cases where disembarking player directly from Titan into dropship leaves that player behind. Fix players not ejecting from where the Titan is if they dash while auto-ejecting. Fix fire for ragdolls disappearing. Fix cases where punching would make a Titan fly. You might remember this one from being featured on Kotaku, apparently. Fix a smart pistol being unable to unlock when the frame rate is low. Thanks for reporting this one, forums. They say, fix the smart pistol not being able to hit crawling specters. Fix occasional issue where Titan rodeo kills were not counted towards the brain surgeon challenge. Fix the case where player jump jet effects would spawn endlessly. Fix a crash when attempting to neck snap a pilot who is rodeoing a Titan. Fix a crash involving sonar. Fix being popped into specter tubes on corporate after jumping off from a rodeo. Fix water not fogging properly. Fix cloak players being too visible in heavy fog. Fix satchel skipping doom state when set off with smoke. Fixed hitching and fast forward motion when games are running for a long time. Fixed tearing happening more often than necessary when running close to 60 FPS. That last one, yes, finally. I don't know if it's just me, but on my version of the game, there's a ton of game tearing. Recently, the gameplay has been donated by a subscriber by the name Grumpy Etha, in case anyone's wondering. If you see any PC gameplay as of right now on my channel, that's not me playing. That is a guy by the name Grumpy Etha. I appreciate it. He's donated a ton of gameplay, and I'll be using it while I'm sort of in this moving/study for school state. But anyways, while I do play on the Xbox One, there's been a lot of screen tearing, and I don't know what it is, but hopefully it's going to be fixed now, because that's been probably my biggest issue with Titanfall, besides the lack of content. But with that being said, let's move on to the bug fixes that are PC specific. Fix crashes related to full screen mode. Game window supports minimize. Game minimizes when switched out, and added very cheap low quality water texture for minimum spec PCs. And now for the bug fixes that are only affect Xbox One. Fix for issue where going into Xbox menus causes two music tracks to overlap. That'd be crazy. That didn't happen to me. But now, wrapping up this video, going to the balancing, which there's a ton of balancing going into this patch, which is good to hear, because I've been saying for a while that I think some things need to be tweaked, and we are finally going to be getting our prayers answered, hopefully. Starting with what I'll call a partial fix to the satchel. Satchel damage has now been reduced against pilots only. They will still kill a pilot caught close to the center of the explosion, but the fall off is more severe now, allowing pilots that are far from the satchel to survive more often than they currently do. Alright, good job, Respawn. Maybe less of the damage against Titans a little bit too. I still think the satchel is really overpowered, but it's good that they are at least reducing the damage against the pilots. Actually, I pretty much solely use the satchel because of how good it is, but good to see that they are reducing the pilot damage. The shotgun now does a little bit less damage at mid-range. Alright, I can agree with that. The shotgun has definitely been one of the top tier weapons. After that, something I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be excited to hear, the R101C. This is what Respawn says. This weapon was designed to be an all-purpose weapon, and it does that quite well. Too well. even. We've slightly adjusted it to make it a bit more uncomfortable to handle and hit targets at long distances. It will kick back a bit more when fired, but the effects are subtle enough only to be felt at long range. We've also reduced the mag size from 30 to 24. What's that? Oh, I didn't know that. That's huge, actually. The extended ammo upgrade brings it from 24 to 30. It used to go from 30 to 40. Well, I think that this could be a big change up to the game. I think we're now going to see a whole lot less R101Cs out there. I mean, more recoil, not as much damage over long range, smaller size for the clip. Oh man, big changes to the R101C. After that, changes to the R97. The rate of fire has been upped to no specific numbers. There's a faster ADS time now. And then finally, while you're rotoing, it does a whole lot more damage as, really, if you have the R97, yeah, you're better using your secondary when you try to take out enemy pilots while you are rotoing them, or excuse me, enemy Titans while you are rotoing them, because before the R97 was completely useless for the most part against enemy Titans. But now to know that they made these changes, I'm glad to hear that, because I definitely think the car SMG was a whole lot better than the R97, but to know that they are balancing this, great. The Hemlock has been changed, which I'm really glad to hear, as it's a burst weapon, but it doesn't usually kill on a burst. It usually takes like 2 or sometimes even 3 bursts to take out a guy, but now what the changes include is that it takes a maximum of 4 bullets at any range to take out an enemy pilot. So that means theoretically, for the most part, it should be only taking 1 burst, and at the longest ranges, it's going to take 2 bursts, which is a whole lot better than before. It was actually 5, but now that they are reducing it to 4, I'm going to imagine that this is a huge change. I'm really excited to see how it's going to play. Secondly, if you're using the silencer mod, it used to take 6 bullets at long range to take out someone, so that's 2 full bursts, and that's assuming every single shot hits the enemy. But now to know that it only takes 5, that is going to be a whole lot better. Another thing is that ADSing time has been increased, so yeah, a lot of big changes to the Hemlock. The Amped Hemlock has also gotten buffed up a little bit. It already killed close range pilots in 3 bullets, now it will also kill long range pilots with 3 bullets, so that's good to hear that, yeah, it's great. The Hemlock is being adjusted. I'm really glad to hear that, as I am a big fan of the burst weapons, and as it is the only burst weapon in the game, and it sort of sucked before, now to know that it's being adjusted, fantastic. I am definitely looking forward to using this weapon a whole lot more often. The other unpopular weapon, at least in my experience, I haven't picked up one of these since maybe the 2nd week of launch. The G2 now kills pilots with 3 shots. Always, is what they say. It used to take forward range. The G2 has slightly less kick now as well. When the silencer is attached, the G2 will always kill an enemy pilot with 4 shots, whereas it used to take about 5 shots at a range. And finally, the clip size has been increased with the mass trigger attachment. It used to give you 12 rather than 8 rounds per magazine. Well, okay. Also, the Amped G2 is getting some big buffs. The Amped G2 will always kill an enemy pilot with 2 shots now. It used to take 3 at a distance. 2 shots, that's going to be amazing. I want to test that out now, and I'll try to make some videos testing out all these buffs. I'll try to go capture some gameplay before the update comes out, and I'll compare all the weapons. But that's great to hear that they are changing the Hemlock especially, and also the G2, and hopefully these things will become beasts, and we'll see a whole lot more weapon diversity of the only 10 weapons that we have to begin with out there on the Titanfall battlefield. Sure. The Titan plasma railgun has had a change, but don't get your hopes up. It hasn't been buffed, and I know a lot of you guys say it's a really good weapon, and I can maybe see why, but I'm just so horrible with it. But the changes is this: the field of vision, while ADSing, has been pulled back to allow some players to keep more of the surroundings in focus. This makes it easier to maintain your charge while tracking enemy targets. Well, that may be useful for me. I still think I'm going to stick to instant shot, even though I know if you charge it up fully, it causes, I think, double the amount of damage as opposed to the instant shot. But they have widened the field of vision, which is good to hear. The final part for this update that is being changed is the Big Punch. This is what Respawn says: we've taken a look at complaints about the Big Punch kit and decided to adjust it. Big Punch was especially problematic when an ogre was dealing the punch. It did enough damage to destroy the shields of a strider and still do a chunk of damage to that of the strider's permanent health. Spamming Big Punch as an ogre also let it travel around at speeds higher than intended. As such, we've decided to weaken the Big Punch's effects significantly when taking as an ogre. The Atlas and Strider didn't need as large of a change, so we've only made small adjustments to the Big Punch's effects when applying to the Atlas and Spider chassis. Well, that was a cool thing I like to do. I like to punch to get you can move around the map really fast by just punching. But now that they are adjusting that, that is great. I never actually saw any ogre users using the Big Punch. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough, but for the most part, I usually saw Striders using the big punch, but now to know that it was an issue and that it's been fixed is great to hear. So once again, thank you so much, Respawn. I think this is my favorite update. We've gotten the most changes. It might not be the most overall content, the most content for sure, but the bug fixes weren't as many as before, but that's obviously good to hear. There's less bugs in the game, but we are definitely getting a ton of content, a lot of balancing changes that I really feel like needed to be adjusted. There are a couple things that I think maybe still should be addressed in the future, but overall, thank you so much, Respawn, for this update. Once again, this is game update number 4. Not sure when it's coming out, but when it does come out, I will change the title and the thumbnail, so those of you watching this after I make this video won't be confused. But thanks so much. Once again, my name's Jared, for you guys, the game update number 4 here for June, and I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.